Okay, you can check your time now. It's a 20 minutes to the top of the hour. 8. Welcome back to the program Maakye on Kessben 92.9 megahertz. Now, yeah, come we say we also live on the Kessben TV, DSTV channel 364 and Go TV channel 121. Yeah, Baba, you know, on my Ghana, how far phone is here? Now, echo WhatsApp. Oko WhatsApp, our number is 05550 596929 0550 596929 for agent for hoye beken kai the amount and a normal text line is 0550 567929 0550 567929 mu biano what the fa hono mo ye beken kai e the amount sisi ya be do my Ghana ho. Go to Facebook and catch us live on facebook.com/KessbenFM and I saw far phone to boase neko search on Facebook o call Facebook and I search for Kessben TV. Kessben TV program be yaba kire wadwene ye beto ye boase ne akenka ni na ade amamo se enya atemridie enko ade a enra energy minister ene central for Asia na energy minister keka SMP na wa me hope say Ghana ya nyina amodene anase ye lighting system no enya ade a yi wom pa ye fere say hope wo mu a enya ade betimi adum edei etiene edum so entem kwar eware obo nsem wo kan ni na etia sa na opeso okire na contract bia na abandada etwembe se mienu esensan gu ho na omo chese bo America wose aban no ato ne boase a o ma terminate sa contract ni na ene ebi so ho no mo a eno so aban no gu so be terminate na sa contract no ma terminate no save this country a huge sums of money etina chese de word no enche yabekwa homa no so ne Benjamin Insia exec okay ye ne Ben ebetwetwe komo obeba studio ha say ye ne Benjamin Insia executive director at the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy ebekasa ne betwetwe komo ewo owura samo ayi John Abujinapo on central for Shiamu na samo okeka edecha ablekuma north ehun sensem asan aba na no so yebetimu biem enemu sensem a minority in parliament say enumanimu ya mampani John Dramani Mahama abranti efen Malik Basintele ono no wo ewayi yenyina di enumanimu ya mampani mpamo no fisi on fete obi o ye violent person one madam Hanabisu ono so meth mampani eni omadi eno so suni yebedi ho enkomo and the matters arising. All right. And then Yebenya Richard Etonam Nyako or Eastern Regional Youth Organizer at the National Democratic Congress. Sansona George Krobia Asante, a Deputy National Communication Director at the New Patriotic Party. And also Yanana Batron Komodo Pe Babia Edu Papa Pato Pese Yaria Ben and Etito and then Mutuasi at the Mama Hopa Yebet with the Etuasi at the Mabatam Yandikai and Kona Yankoshe Honorable Samuel Abujinapo. Honorable Samuel Abujinapo, Minister of Energy, on the Central for Ekasai. On the Central for Ekasai. Yanko na yanko koti de okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we can confidently say that Ghana's energy sector is indeed showing signs of stabilization and improvement, driven by ongoing reforms aimed at addressing both technical and financial challenges, as well as modernizing infrastructure. The persistent and erratic power outages that had plagued the country when we assumed office during the beginning of the year has witnessed a remarkable improvement and reliable supply of power. And you can attest to the fact that we are now experiencing reliable, uninterruptible supply of power. As you may recall, I directed a comprehensive program towards reducing the incidence of unplanned outages because it was becoming too much. This program involved patrolling and mapping overhead line feeders, identifying construction defects and interference from structures such as buildings, billboards, vegetation, as well as those from rain.
All right, we Minister of Energy John Abujina Kwame Agyei and I'm what he say ono so adene dia ko na ba ye nche so kra no Ben Insia ababe kayensa Ben ababe kayensa nimdie for Ben abe o PhD ye the doctor aka sa
eguso
fata wo
bia nso a enche bia the photoshop be ba na yeso ye friend doctor ni bia I think say GTech ha man for admin one say photoshop bi na Kroma, being from doctors, but I think the most important thing, even though PhD is very stressful, sometimes mouse some abnormalities, but I think as a country, the focus should be on how best we can mobilize each of the resources, whether PhD, non-PhD, for our development. In other jurisdictions, most of these PhD guys don't want to be called PhD. They don't want to be called doctors. Obeboni dina no the professional association. So engineer or affiliate no or your nurse of no crashing say or the PhD in a better actually. Until we say down. But the crewman I think say because of the stress I come as a PhD in
or per se a dead demand for say what bread.
Yeah, Benya be by PhD. Still Benjamin is here at the way. But at the end of the day, the contribution now to the society, or contributions to national development is the most important thing. And or title, and other jurisdiction, that is their focus. Acquire the knowledge, use the knowledge for the development of your country, and not just having the titles in the Kruma, a bit more title, how impactful they are in our development affairs.
Minimum cophobia, especially Ashanti regional. I would say why him fubi wo hono mo a do two for aka say we a doctor the professor faton chen near from Nanani street on pesa no mano e defeat ye culture na ye but omo kra no show mo abonten yan kan kire wa uhunu so we professor uhunu apart from say menhia kasa de no omo an kasa no so oba menhia na wonye sa but o private life e betimi afro sa de no obi ti say papa ye a osua golden stool no so the osua golden stool no so a professor, but your friend is no one can on Felicia a friend a professor and no man.
But by difference, so professional is a professional title, professor no, professional title based on some of the articles in a promotion.
Yeah, obey in the
research. Master, be a master holder crana or a professor money. I think Prof Mills, appointee man be now a constitutional review committee. Chair he was a master holder at the same time professor because of the publications and promotion. It's a professional title, but PhD academic title.
Yes.
What do last?
Areas be or countries need be or what say at your university automatically you are a professor until be said tell abimuni credit procumuna former professors. Okay, now Yansha the energy minister. Asian Central for no can the state of energy of this country but dear back can ya in fact honestly speaking when I was watching it our newsroom was see one kind of direct but ushene kasemuna no person say the PDS do na abandada no ekwasan ya you demonizing na yesi PDS nye PDS nye no ushene kasemuna na ya kwese na ka PDS ne nemom the characters around the PDS no or see greediness and a man PDS need to do baby and no PDS no what was it good for this country?
So on principle any form of privatization especially private sector participation in the energy sector no in principle no is BBA was saying yes support because you say the current system or the current structure most of the discourse and the two discourse owned by state Maakye Kabebre. One, liquidity levels are very low in terms of more ability to defray or liabilities and omoka very low muniska ombetua omoka ba kono no two more profitability levels very low and some of them are even in higher losses or more making losses higher ones. Three is that equity running down in terms of ability to use the cash or more for certain strategic purposes or more assets. The return of assets very low. Until operational wise, you need private sector participation. And anytime I'll be engaged any of the Western countries or more institutions, that is the philosophy of the West. The philosophy of the West is that let the private person lead, and then you support through policy. Nti IMF, World Bank, say privatization. So in principle, it's not a bad thing. But I think that as a country, normally, the politics It is a politics you defeat the principle, until the practice becomes very bad. And PDS in principle, getting private sector participation in our distribution sector and as a system, and that any bad in principle, but in practice, I think it was a bad thing because one, the approach requirements I was anchor investors limiti and sana you handy over company no their mom investors not meet requirements by handy over momo anyway until certain agitations by yes I withdraw back. The investors were expected to have certain guarantees and there was some money back so that guarantees break some form of buffer and as some the company bit marginal namu yes basi bibi aturenche BSC but most of the guarantees that they brought in terms of risk level were very risky, and these are audit reports and other things are government namu cry actually say insurance guarantees be normal buy were very risky, and if they had engaged in future be hard. The second part was that they were expected to bring certain liquidity injection because private sector participation it was so wild to seek about to improve the system so that bit more mobilizes can. But some of the shareholders and as investors no man first care was so so in principle PDS is good, or maybe private sector participation is good, but in practice I think it was one of the bad things because people wanted to take advantage of the system. And sana it was the coming private sector participation also it was because in principle private sector participation is also a good thing because you want to be very efficient, you want to instill certain corporate organizational culture, very disciplinarian, you want to have that supervision, profit maximization supervision. At the end of the day, that is what you want. But say in practice, you repeat PDS, the politicians, the political cronies, political friends, and share now your private sector participation. They say this time and so affiliate.
And na minister Kabibi ka a private sector participation was say cabinet approve a new policy to allow private sector participation in the billing and revenue collection process of the electricity company of Ghana. Now o cheche man so okabia no asaka me no stress say ECG is not for sale, we are not privatizing ECG. Okabia so okane be say 5 times na opeso paint picture me who say the yet tin from mama say abai person or ton ECG nyesa, but not all private sector participation into no na man ko fadwe yom say bia ye ton a certain portion bi dia ma the ECG katre private sector participation ebamu a ene yenton ebetimi abase omuwom ba yenton ECG.
I think in Africa
and as a portion a percentage be
you had no that be say your interest in state entities too high, and sometimes a shadow sometimes economic thinking because in Africa in your countries like Ivory Coast omo distributor a private company, and distributor and a private company no man concession over 50 years, and 50 years no na juma ye, and Ivory Coast in terms of power stability is one of the highest in Africa in terms of access.
Only for distribution.
No, like omo generation to distribution in the hands of
privatizing.
Privatizing. And Ivory Coast, apart from penetration and as access, and a bit lower compared to Ghana. But in terms of stability of power, they don't even observe that Dumsona can have a bribeno. They have stable power. Oko Morocco, the same thing. Morocco, for somewhat, have also liberalized their power sector, and the power sector is in the hands of a private person. They are buying by they say making sure say. Regulation a very standard best of practice private sector and take advantage of the consumers and as end users. So private sector in its entirely, and I say total privatization is not a bad thing. But I think Ghana has I believe the private sector, but not politicians. No, when a state asset, a state, if the state assets and the state assets cannot even recover, cannot even make profit, why should it be a state assets anyway? But I think that the minister's argument is that yeah, the privatization, but yeah, be a bit form of partial privatization or maybe a private sector participation. So what it means is that say nano, a value chain of the power sector are generation, transmission, distribution. Now, the another value chain beka ho. Value chain no ebe retailing, right? Or retailing of power. Until retailing of power no in such a way that yenye generators now on better ama transmitter no beji di ama distributors no. Distributors na dia almost omo chemu ama retailers. Until the value chain be foforo ne ba beka ho. So
the retailer ni be privatizing.
Yes, so retailing no ene the billing until be ma ankra na beji diska no. Yema or buying engine because buying into me is can be. For example, me TS na a minister no air cam. I think I me share ne kakra bi na okasa Netco in northern part of the country. Netco no omoko so omoko jiska omoko no amanfo ebu Netco workers no and amanfo so omo ntiase within the Netco operational area. Obeti say ahemfo efre obeti say so ye jama ankra ankra no betimi afa ne kwan bi so obe use ni police because ankra na ejiska obi ntumi mfra ban obi ntumi mfra president and obi ntumi mfra minister say minister ye ejiska ya na say ye ntiase ma onjiska. I quite remember say the previous government and this current government so happening previous government because say ECG ko twa light bi mu ashantere ni hoba bi omo twa light mu ebe ya asem because the original minister then any o man nyadwen. Imagine say private person ene kwa kotwa minister ni hu kwan so be kan bi because private person need ni sika akoshim and was also making sika this also making sika o twam untimi kan ho hwe. So I think that is the reason why and that is the motive behind say yemfa private person mra no ndi jiska no onu ko jiska ne dia obi antimi nya ho hwe.
Sorry to cut you. I save that. It's a buying team in private sector and bit me because minim say minim situation bia me akasama cover as a journalist at that time me DHB. Na ye bejeje aijazungu ye bejeje tie di soldier for DHD. Ansa na do mako. Dey be kwata say. So does it mean say the private sector no do account me on fa soldier be yama?
Okay, so there are two things. I think that one, beyond okay Ghana ha omo muntua kania kese na enye timamufo send ye hono because
the industries
yes, not even the other users are buying 80% of the areas in the power sector are buying $150 million annually. 80% of that 150 million no are buying entua ne kania. And I buy into Kenya because of political chronism. Politicians no munyina na abaying the power until abaying juma want to yakra abaying to me nyane. But say am krankre abaying the ka oba begini sika. On tiase. So
my situation yeah koye sad no as it's like a police phone ka ho a omo fi wo. So I'm asking that what is the difference between abaying the private sector or kwakoji sika?
So the simple difference is that they are buying at current state any the resource capacity make a resource capacity only liquid sika only cash only access right only the technology only the human resource to be able to build and collect revenue and obey tuma ye we nyina ohie sika ene de aye ECG na ye ka ni liabilities 67 billion Ghana cedis okufa sika wo hin bank be be money sika but ankran no edi sika na eba or the technology na eba or the human resource neighbor, so that human resource technology and sikano ebetimi amanaji sikana was odi. So ehun here say be odi police for ni soldier for ebeba system na ebe modernize system no meters for na be odi beba and as or the technology be very friendly ebeba untumi we power
pay view like a pay
view untumi we power right and untumi we power no wonso a untumi emfa kwoti kwan bi so enyusu power na abra wuntua ena wantua nso power na betwam
that system on best a back
that is it. So that is the kind of private sector participation in principle is good but say anya ni ya because we repeat the PDS and other fail because there were 30% of distribution private sector participation failed in Africa right? In ESCOM in South Africa you try and in Tanzania you try Nigeria Nigeria or try zonalizing the country into 11 areas, privatizing some part of it, and also so say for the best practice share your local context in formulating some of these policies and asset transactions are minia because the private sector will make us better now could make it worse. So on the business but in principle I think that is good say a bit media but so that private person no e will sika be also deba e will technology be also deba e will human resource be also deba so that human resource ni technology no any sika no e bit me aka boom ama no timi collect 95% of revenue also collect because in there ECG moko mo boom they are not even doing up to 50% of revenue mobilization right, and we need to make 95%. Even in other countries they are making 100% of revenues being mobilized from almost sector, and that can only be true if you get the right private participants in our value chain. But there are cautions because there are certain things we have to currently look at. I think that the ministry ought to have told us that if you are introducing the private sector into the value chain, how are we going to address the debt of ECG? It's very critical because they say on the ECG, ne share onya in the value chain so better. Ekodi ankrankra ho. Yeah, ekodi ankrankra because uchemu e de bia ma ankrankra. Ono so oboka 67 billion Ghana cedis dia to. Ye de tua. I think that thing in future must be well addressed. Say the bit metua sa aka no. The second part is that say ankrankra na e de beka ho in the value chain no. Say na ye betua no. Ye ti ECG sika ne bi na de ama no. Anaso ono nso no ye di sika foforo na be ba be ma no. Say di sika foforo na e be ma na and that was some of the questions I was expecting the media to have asked. Say see the private participant into the bailing process. Say the beka ho a emma ya yi ni bo nyedin. I think it's something I was say anka ye hwe ho na ye answer some of these questions. And last, I think that when you're introducing a private sector participation in the whole value chain, you need a strong utility regulator. A strong utility regulator in the sense that some of the private participants may not even introduce cash na ye can. Some of the private participants may not even bring the technology you are talking about, may not even bring the human resource you are talking about, but they will come and then use the existing assets na to mobilize their revenue, and they will always be expecting say it will say increase the tariff. Because so in other jurisdictions they make sure that their regulator is also up in arms to be able to police the industry well so that private sector won't take advantage of Ghanaians. Right? So have you developed our regulator so well? Have you amended 738? Have you made sure say regulator is so strong that obetima policy private sector participants in the space? Some of these questions that I thought say Bianca you be engaged now, you're making sure say you be the right policy, you implementing the right policy. I think that it will solve a lot of our crisis. But beginning, we need to also look at the debt distress of these discourse and how we can address them in future.
All right, now minister so say Jubilee House accountability series Jubilee House or no can be say the energy ECG board no approve some of the contracts money and bi wo terminate he said sorry terminate some of the contract now okan 202 ECG contractor terminate terminate and 145 others is so underway na nini na no na cost this country over $227 million bububa other currencies means okay the dollar no dey buy euros no dey buy pounds any idea sa contract ya ka ho asem no if only become one private independent producers association no independent producers power producers no oboka hu bia na
no so independent power producers are just generators
so they have nothing to do with the ECG.
They have nothing to do with ECG.
Okay.
The ECG contractors, I think that suppliers, maybe a normal supply transformers, a normal supply switch gears, a normal supply feeders, and almost supply distribution lines, a normal supply poles, right?
And more transformers, your mom cover
fence, no. Nti a beer or mom yes supplies we know. And ECG a contract so supply all these
equipment and our tools and whatever you call it, and supply emrom. But Utie minister now, I think me nyakwan tie no kakra on this particular subject. Utie now say suppliers no delay, right? Because there were certain time specification and there was a meeting in terms of almost supplies to the company, almost delay. And no delay based on that, it may contract breach, it may abrogate contract, because many work apam say was a beer now pebi mame. Na otwimi na bros bia akodi bosome miensa 9 adene mai nti se adene mai e wo se terminate na se me pebivu amenya ne babi foforo because the enka djumadi e wo se me di no djumadi na atwam nti you don't need it. So I think based on that na almost say terminate contract. If it is truly that yes suppliers no breach contract no terminate here no problem but there be a mekase you see contract termination no it has positive and benefits because one then you say you are cost saving tie can subi especially at the time I see you grant this kind of the kwakutua ne liability 67 billion no o this ka bia be ka ho bioma o kotua o hin nti who contractor no kra na odi ne ma na eba no and a supplier kra odi ne ma na eba no o hwe ne ka odi sesia na o debt distress o the background hwe o sika onya. And I think some of these contractors and suppliers, any aban be yadwene kra say be the dead situation of ECG nti no manfa ayinu kra ma nti yatwam no kra eyemom. Yes, some of them will be happy, right? But ebin so ebinum so no esipo so eba ena bia omuni previous embedruye anase bia abedu kra mon clear ena bia omuni previous board no akọ arrangement say yes ye ne mo kwa pam say bia ye be supply ade ne say but because of certain new arrangements bia momma ya kwanya bia bosome ba akwa na bosome miensa chi na mfa no emanemra say some microphone bi so ho a bia they may go to court to seek redress say me dem sika akoto ade no oposo matua ho ka say wo so onye abeye meka, right? So the issues of judgment debt may also come in if actually some of the contracts yamfa kwan paso and terminate issues of judgment debt may come in. And as issues of judgment debt come in, they means that the Attorney General Department and the Ministry of Energy so and terminate some of these contracts. So you should be very careful when we are talking of cost savings and being efficient in the sector. The other part is sometimes terminate contracts means what? It reduces investor confidence because investors be who say contracts now will terminate be a one for coin password. That actually no who engage obi say on supply no be mbra ban osuro because him say me supply mbra ban na se bia that be no aban ni free so anase nipa for ba obi so ba terminate contract na maboka nti onu so be suru a onfa no ema no emba. And lastly too, I think that sometimes some of these contract termination we should do it in such a way
now Dr. Kwame Ampofo, you remember is South Day a member of parliament, so an energy expert now or kabi say oko abemwa ECG contractor abebia ba so be sign different contract abebia ba so be terminate contract it working kind contractors are and ECG aye adwuma sent forth for public now is over hundreds. Enti ama ase yenya stable ko bia ba oba be ne de ene do be terminate contract no be find way obe find way obetimi justify kire Ghana for say hu hia say be terminate sa contract we see because e bia ne say John Jinapo ka kire energy minister ka kire say e be save $227 million. It will come in so okay, if that is the case there, then they should go ahead.
Because say what the motive say you are going to be efficient, you are cost saving. Na say assign the cabrena. Na earlier objective no person achieve no achieve the canabra.
All right. Yene Owura Benjamin Insia, Executive Director, Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy. And I'm what to see no and common share the state of energy in this country. And Ura Abujinapo, John Abujinapo, Energy Minister and Central for Asia, Jubilee House, no all the state of Ghana energy, no, at the H-ray. Now, Ura Benisia and Ben Yanshadi, we talk about the state of the Ghana energy for now, but Yanshe, Oman Penina or Dafo, say yen cancel the free coupons and this free fuel for government appointees, that's kind of But me say as for this one, I'm not asking you as an energy expert. maybe I remember the energy side. Say me you na buy a catch me say ya cancel Sadina. Or he's talking about the political appointment, right? Those are holding the political appointment. For example, say be a political appointment, LPA, GNPC, a chief of staff and so on. Me te ha me dem when we say chief of staff, chief executive, board chairman, LPA, GNPC board chairman, energy minister. They don't pay for the fuel. They don't buy their own fuel.
I think all Sadrina no crese ubekuta Sadrina and me te announcement no Adriana Misumikra because the entire maker say share the announcement that came now. I think that announcement even though very symbolic and because in the minds of many Ghanaians and I say do na the EPC say buying a save cost and send the ATN so when you say buying save cost you know bebo mombe hooray buying save but I think that the announcement came with a lot of ambiguities and the announcement very clear announcement clear no it lacks clarity because even the word political appointees is very ambiguous because political appointees we are talking in essence
appointees also no appointees. He did not use the word political, but we are saying that some of the positions be a political appointee.
No, you read the one kind announcement. It's political
appointee. Okay.
Yes, and political appointee is a very ambiguous term, and ambiguous term means that even Mikrum Kintampo assembly members no more than 30% of them are appointed by president, right? How many of them withdraw fuel from the state? So I think that there ought to have been certain clarity on which political appointees we are talking about. Now, the second part with respect to ambiguity has to also do with institutions, state entities. Yes, ministers, they get fuel from state. Deputy ministers, get fuel, chief of staff office, the presidency, even presidential staffers are even political appointees. They get fuel from state. But beyond them, I was saying who, even within the state entity sector, which of the political appointees are we talking about? Because GCB rather, Ghana Commercial Bank, GCB is a joint venture within the state entities list or a joint venture, and on the shareholders, a buying even though a buying will be a majority shares, but there were other private shareholders. Obunina ko benkromu, adia tum say ye better fuel yama ye MD and I CEO. In this oka say GCB MD or a political appointee because or represent state or represent the president. Money fuela will the other stakeholders and other investors agree to that? Oka Guel, money fuela will they agree to that? Uber MPR, the subordinates even at MPA get fuel coupons. Will they agree to? So I think that there ought to have been clarity on the kinds of political appointees we are talking about. If it's a minister, who's a ministers. If it's certain state-owned entities, certain state-owned entities, not fuel. So now with respect to implementation, and that's the difficulty. What the announcement number? I think that the announcement ought to have also been accompanied by an implementation framework, an implementation plan, because implementation plan any who savings are making and how you are going to supervise this particular policy thoroughly, so that it doesn't bring certain confusion in the minds of Ghanaians. And they say will be some question say, if even some of these guys use internally generated funds to procure the fuel, how right? So we use internally generated funds to procure media, so it must have been accompanied by certain regulations and implementation framework, so that implementation framework how much government is saving from this and where we are diversifying these resources into for national development. I think that should have come. Right? Say Oma make an announcement, very symbolic, but there need to be very clarity on it because government appointees more than 3,000, and which of them are we talking about, and how we are going to. And lastly, Kraminia, you see, Oka fuel na yekana, we even have to diffuse fuel na yekano. Some of them take it for government purposes. These days, you don't even know how to classify government operations and personal operations, right? So some of these things must be dictated well, explained well, described well in some of the implementation frameworks. Say fuel ben na yekan because obi wa minister bi or tinika mu or no one be an personal car na say state car mu di amano. Sa state car no Odubi timi the personal operations. Or science to me the state activities and state functions. So state functioner. Why also to fuel the man? All this clarity must come. And beyond say you make an announcement, I think that for future purposes, no, we need certain laws. Laws
and some of the institutions, they give contracts. You understand the institution itself, and then they are binding the amount. As political appointment, but the institution will give you a contract. The
institutional establishment. There are various establishments, various acts and establishing institutions, no. And these establishments, show say even subordinates in these institutions, no, fuel. So, but terminate here. Let us know. And I think the most important thing for us now is that my own savings, where you are directing the savings to, so that at the end of the day, we say, okay, your savings they make it from fuel allowance, no. That's
fantastic. Okay, so thank you very much, Ben. Just 30 seconds. Catch did the minister open the box of hope for us? And no more kind in ano. Your energy,
did he
say open the box of hope? Say in some of kind in ano. And as if you took your time to monitor him. And some of kind of say my own crunch say these people are ready to solve the doomsday power crisis, you know, all this stuff. You need to be you terminate your contract where you see you do a private sector participation, blah 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 blah.
I think that Kasa but Ajumano and Kessben.
Okay.
But lastly, my for food to be me per 1 minute pay. My home paper be I think graphic reporter say Honorable Mustafa Hamid. I think that the previous government, graphic reporter say is be almost 200 and something million Ghana cedis be on other members be OSP no Ediomachi. I think that say yenuya boss ATA na the UPPF no and the cause of this particular problem. Say boss for so ATA say sikana boss for free transporters no ho eno so betima cause yenuya feji in future because saa sika na UPPF yetif edema transporters no e na akoso Mustafa ene Jekamoa ndi so omuso da so koso etete sika free transporters so se omo de ma transport unions na e betima akoso minu afeji any others afechi and others at boss, so they have to be very very careful. I think that they should delete themselves from the transporters operations. Omo delete omo ho a na se transporters na mo koshia na omo abetiti omo sika e de omo ho a ebeboa. All right, thank you very much. We Ura Benny Insia, Executive Director at the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy. And I'm watching CNN Network Koma Efa Enra Ura John Abujinapo, Minister of Energy, essential for Oshia, essential for now Oka, the state of energy in this country at the HA. Okay, so Brady. Ye ba be say yare kakra yare be de tete wo in boost ba mixture aye crowd police in the drone no omo ba be to papa e dia maye men ko ba bia just wait for me in boost for ba bedu omo ba be me yare sa yare bia tete wo bia no in boost ba mixture e ba betu ase e dia maye etie nkotie in boost nyamra ye ba the fireworks ne e be ba enamadika ka cho se Richard Etonam Nyako Eastern Regional Youth Organizer at the National Democratic Congress and George Krobia Sante, Deputy National Communication Director at the New Patriotic Party Beba and now Amone Ababedi and Komo and I say about Pense Kuaka the matters are rising. So stay tuned Benko Bebia, you're calling to Fassia Abasia.
na ya mama kwa babie mum refidi kase isu nim say sharp helps de yetina se say ya pomde hunsam na ye de brewo ma pomde hunsam no eda yakoma so pa Dr. Steven Nyako Sharp officer 1 hours awo ye mem ha se odi ne djuma se police ni nanso Nyakopon hwe ne don na koma panti ode odom papa bi adom no se onfanye imboost herbal mixture ye sanmane se police ni na dro no papa che se nipa ho asem ana se nipa ho do na koma so pa enu ti ubehwa edro imboostable mixture no enioma eye no edo so pa nanso so ebo no ma na da form crap so obia etumi etobi se wo yesikani se bi wo ye before obia etumi atobi na aboa ama etimi awoso nyarewa nyina egu ye number say didi juma ebi enkomo ya ne ubedi na asem bi kire wadwen so ebre ni nti wuntimi mbonwura mu bi ana pese woni Dr. Steven Nyako Sharp di nkomo wanu modro ni bi wose testimony no frɛ no na aka kire ne saa e hye ni nkran pa nti me pa chow obe frɛ doctor e 0246 208496 0246 208496 eno Dr. Steven Nyako Sharp officer 1 ne number eno no ebi so na pedro dodo etu o Accra ha ne mpatamu dia obe Dr. Robert 0540 71 01 13 0540 71 01 13 eno numbers are offering e dia drondo sopo abegu shop ho na watumi aton san se imboost dia odom na oso nti se bi eni shop wa ya na ma sales no kran tumi enko nanim eno nti so bi pharmacy herbal shop drugstore da wunyanya imboostable mixture na wo yaka etri kakra eno nti me do me pacho frase pebisesi a me peso obi beba na se afi na me kofa bi wa di asanso tutumrika ko kan shi drug lane herbal shops akese ne nketu anyina ebi wo mu Ekus pharmacy wa Shaman widama so wa Shaman ho atemana na boache wo ho e na afin so kaso air tribe of Judah AK Herbal e oteshi gono school over the world and over the country baby a ebi e wo ho okobre kuma ebi wo ho nom sunya ne tachiman jesenya sem ketu baby a imboostable mixture de ya to apeti me do for wutie me ye kan imboost ho asem ebi ene ne de kan ya wote yenka ana wanka se duro no wakoto bia no so kra won hyedam nim adetitiri wa eya de tie ne se bra wa frase a wonom imboostable mixture yi ensakraye ebebe woni padua ni mu pa esan se imboost no ewra ni padua ni mu a ekopeja immune system no ahoden ekokenya immune system no ahoden mekyerɛ wo self defense no naturally de nyankopɔn de ama wo se embo ho ban free nyarewa ho emmoa ona se yare be ni padua ni mu a tumiku edisu nkonim ana sebe ya wonyare ntentem nti saade ni ndi dwuma ne ma no eno na wonum imboostable Mr. Posi ni na dro na ekopeja na hoden edema eno nti se nei immune system na hoden wo fom edaye ya ewo ne nan entumi nya hwea obeyi obi abeta yare pa o yare mpo na wonum odura wo hyeda huna dro no so papa adentia esanse edro na ewra nipadua nim na etwa se immune system na strong na etumi aye adwuma ye aboa nipadua no na wako edi yare no sunkonim eno nti wonum adro na enya immune ni eye weak no na adro ni nya adwuma no sunsan so be ne kwa kofa dia brewo medofo so pese obo ho ban unya pomde mapade a ade etwa se wo hwe ni ye pa eye wonkwamo a ewo nipadua nim no ene nkwamo no so na ho odi nyina ewo imboost herbal mixture police ni na dura odi ahahama enubna enua hini edi aye no enumu enewo medofo so pa pomuden na wo mpese de nyankopon asema ka no odi be ya adwuma de a ene na wonim de opese wo ye kyere se nyankopon asema ka ne dada ayaresa ne de eye ne maduane na ayaresa ne be waduane a eye herbs no eye hahama no enubna no eno na wodi ye waduro na ayaresa atumi aye waduane enu nti ne ene men kaseme de mempe hahama nro ya na enwuno imboosted the acid honey no ahyemuma no ne no atimi no nti no ne nom no enye ya ne nom no edabokwa ache so obi atumi no bia wo no ma meni se misuradu no mpa so so me no wadro serious ana che se menyim eno de akora ni nti no menom enso imboost me nom me anytime bia ache se ne nom no enye ya nice eno ne abibidro edam sonko ne packaging dam sonko ne content dam sonko se de adro ne nom so edam sonko ne nom no enye ya kra eno nti me pa cho me ma no mbo hu oye oba o menses meye enua mam ne de ya na edunum no eye ya pa ye mpa edunum nanso so o menses na emba ye no hu ne seniema bi na enkoye woni padua ni mu menses ne ba pains na wote no enye normal anu ye den obi on ma ne de na ebeba this month o nfa afro ono so so a onru ni monopole stage nanso so no menses ne ba this month no agi say bia 6 months ansa na aba wote sa na che say your how bi ene woni padua ni de na wo beye obenum imboostable mixture no na saade no agyan
okay
afe wutie me na pese otete wa wo ntem ekwan afa so ye no amwa ana enu moja na amfa enu ti ama menses na twa enu so so ankanya ndrubre wo se etwa me pa cha ofrase se wo the police ni na duro no eye wa duro na sa de ni nyina etu obetwa fibroid no ba e cheche wa obetumi anum bi wo so so obedi adanse sansa adanse ni de ye bebre obi se na aduane to me ye ma mintumi kra me kaye nua ba bia na nka ne nsono o se osa ha na ma se doctor so okotwitwa ne nsono no akeken siani 2013 na yedi police ni na dro in boostable Mr. Nemano no wode ne hoto so no continuously nyakopon adom se osa no ontene nka biem wo de no osa na hawo diabetes na aba ni padwan sugar na boroso anase se kire yade ana hypertension pressure no ekosoro dodo ana ati aba fompa hepatitis na hawo na fatty liver na hawo merofo wutie mi hunu se yare bi betimi agin hini ewo ni padwanim ana yare bi be ni padwa no so ne betimi akwa na ye immune system ne bobre eno ti se ka se imboostable Mr. Timi boa ma odi yare nyina so nkunim ati ase se dura boost immune system no na se immune system no so enya ahoden ya na eden se yare betimi enya anika ewo ni padwanim eno ti obi a ni immune system ye weak no bo se de biara da code uchi no na katade no ho abagim ebe kakra bo se no ni padwa no se me haye me basabasa me ni padwa mu ye basabasa me honam hyehye me ntumi na edura na dura ontumi na afọ osibechiri bremu me ya misisi minimum kotodwe afọ beko hospital ye be check ne pressure ne sugar no yese no so kosoro me do fo se wutie me na won pese asasi so pese wotimi tena sinya apomodin dia ade etwa se wo bo ho ban immune system no esan se organs ne woni padua no be ne obetima function well without the help of the immune system and as say immune system ne ye weak ebie ne obetimi aye adwuma yi eno ti ne ye kan fo police ni na dura ya sana ma ne se ye body di se imboostable Mr. no di amount so wona se na tatai onsa na ye titiriti wakoma na ye bo periperi ana malaria ta che opa nso tutu ntontom na ba kakra bi ba ko pebi ka wa na oda hode a ene police ni na duro no eno na ye kan fo di amount enche da me de ma no si minua me ma mo se mentumi mo fose ya na sa me ba no man ka mo asema mentumi kra adentia enema na ba no ho chesese die se bi se bi mpredua se ho si ye de ne pedi mo odin no wan hwe ye na so how bi ba ni padua nim na se ema wo sexual ye weak na wo si wo me kototo ne ma bi spray ba na ne ho de akoye adwuma wan hwe ye kwakofa akoma ya de abrew obi aka oba so wo aka oba so obi so ejina so sa wo ye wie le ejina so sa ye de na kwa akoye ne se adwuma enumja ye yes adwuni we kwade na sei ntumi nya adwuma bi mi nyina yese bisabi aphrodisia nura ye nonom se ye de befa ma me pacho imboost die wo ye be ma na wonum bia eboa ayi stress ma wa ye weak na firi ho eboa ayi phlegms gonorrhea na syphilis enemu yare bia amamma age uni padua na boso ewia na do natural strength se be ma na di amount eti wo bo adwuma se be ma ohaw bia eni akire ni nyina ayi police ni na duro imboostable Chamero for numbers no na assembi a chewa dwe no eni endin ko e wo 0246 20 84 96 na 0540 71 01 13 we ye Dr. Steven Nyako sharp number no na media to janiti frɛ no ye no ko ide ye ka wo say imboostable Mr. no ebi wo herbal shop license chemical shop pharmacy bia mu no enye na police ni na do de wan kasa wonim se eya pomode mapanti ko pebitonom ne bebo aw pa medase
okay boost ba Mr. for anamate se ye no mo awie no yeda mo ase pa se benye adu papa ato na sabrede mamenkanfo dog activated charcoal powder enfama wo na dog activated charcoal powder no enya sam keto akra sei enetie kwa bia soma hu say that ye find dog charcoal powder activated charcoal na obia abofro wo so pa obi wo hono mo ayare bia ni nusu wo di aduane bia na wo fe abofro wo so atete wache udi aduane kro pedi enunu se de be ya obofro udi anwa aduane pe na wo fe enu hia dog activated charcoal powder de bi afa stomach upset obi a ye funu aye oya wanum no wo wiase ni dan enkoda wo hia bi se obanum bie na akotu ase edi amaw na yare ba kopa ye osa obi a osa wo so a wakopa enkono osa hudo bi a wo so bia no your dog activated charcoal powder and a betu ase the amount when kase be manage o e betu ase the amount dog activated charcoal powder acid reflux obi wo hono mo a acid reflux the didi ni mu ama oda na eboba eti se be previous etimu bad breath etimi ebegu minim na create problems at the mouth here center left and right aduane to ya mu asa be previous na akwakoja wonan esese we no ononom dog activated charcoal powder no na ekoka no etu ase edema ebe detoxicate ama gas e wo yem nina no apie ediaba eye 100% natural and ediaye it should be a dog activated charcoal powder dog activated charcoal powder we pe abako atu akoton ana pedodo atu opedodo atu akoton ana se pe bako pe akwako yusua ko ekus pharmacy eno wa shaman nana boache tema ena aa mensa takrade ena delight pharmacy okofobia redama pharmacy ewa shaman ena all pharmacy shops a ewo okaishi drug lane na obenya biato eye dog charcoal powder eno for number we sisi a 05982068885 05982068885 and 0206616620 0206616620 wey ayo dog activated charcoal powder and ebedi yasem ediamai and then we sorry na ebia mu ya dumakuo bi mu ya sorry and ebia mo pese mo pam ntade uniform edema madumefo a o ha to atwa o ya ankrankra o patade pauses atade ya pam de shower obi ehuna wi se atade yi fatal pa atade bia pese opam bia se wo de kwa yie wo de kwa party wo de kwa sorry se je wo pese opam bia se ye suit eye a straight dress eye ye fere say mini dress atade ahodo bia pese opam bia eye chepam muntie ni chepam ne sa no ofe papa nyame wanwa say outside this country ni na nkofo de omo no ma eba ama chepam ama ehyepe esa adiko eye chepam na chepam so for office wear open weddings parties church funerals and other occasions bia no eye chepam e de bepam e de amawo eye kira kwan e wo awosh market e ho na abehu chepam na chepam se for number we sisi a 0206833778 0206833778 chepam tell a papa wenye die bepam afe na wahano achi asekaba ne bepam a na wahane eda ho ni sa no ma no ena beto me zip ma ya tuwia na zip no ekwa sa da kire ase yansusu da bi chepam entesa etifa ko chepam na yenye bibia enfama wo na kwakwasi edu Herbal and Prayer Center for some culture say wo mu di nuo magwaso mienu bi ediaba wo mu nuo ne nyanwuo be setena ye beka se nuo tena ve sawewe dabi wo di mienu pe eno diaba je wo inkunumdie and GDA Herbal mixture inkunumdie Herbal mixture any GDA Herbal mixture and kwakwasi edu Herbal Center Prayer Center for akofadiaba na GDA Herbal mixture no say arthritis obia arthritis eteto pa yatwa wonam yatwa unuane bebrebe wo dia wo ba na abubu aguo eho na aba beje leaf no akotena fie no akosa ho yare de bia edu awobra no arthritis aba yatwa wonam udimi nwenam uhia GDA Herbal mixture wo se me kan tro se enenso no totowie ma yemunu enye nuane ni na ne betimi aka ne hye ansa ne yadi entinuane ni bu ha samolina na akwa akosisu dipe na akofa typhoid e dia brew se typhoid na yawo se nyanye wo fa GDA Herbal mixture fa bo ho ban se nyawa fa bo ho ban sa ye won so a fatu ase afei malaria fever ene so to a pint tontom el malaria no mo nete tontom dura ye dam ye spray kura omo nkoda ebetimi ama tontom na malaria no apai bi dia gumu mojamu ama na create problem e dia mawo etu hia GDA Herbal mixture na udi atu malaria na se afei include Herbal mixture na se osa bia wo so bia se H pylori ni ba bia ko hye bia no wasi nkudibie heba mixture ne betu ase eya mukro bia wo so bia no se enya 50 years 30 years 20 years e betu ase e dia mam ekwanya kogu yam pe numtoa be se miensa e be hye no kra ma se ne obade de ball no tissues ni na ye kama amanuane adokota atwa wa na wontimi nimako enu aduane a wo pe no watimi ase e dia fe menstrual cramps oba ye do adane calendar ene ese atuo etwa na pharmacies ahodo a wagana nyina ene herbal shops na no ubenya gidie ene nkurubidie herbal mixture de bi ato na ope ba ko ato akoyusu ana pedodo atu akoton a number ye 0558639865 0558639865 sabe George Krobia Asante aba betenase George Krobia Asante wa betenase oye deputy communications director edema New Patriotic Party and afei Richard Etonam Nyako Eastern Regional Youth Organizer edema National Democratic Congress abeja former mo akwaba bibi abokode all right honorable ye be chase tempas na enra energy minister wone central fushia some contract bi ya terminate any adia na ye pese hwese energy minister no open the box of hope for this country as far as the energy you want some is concerned but Krobia mama chase mfafri ho no oba nche mama chase mfafri I'm giving you 1 minute faka che ahoboaboa te say nyame adom Saturday New Patriotic Party moko delegate conference who ansem eti say
yo me that's so far
1 minute
yo me that's Ziega me chiati for na for yes New Patriotic Party in preparation towards the upcoming National Delegates Conference extraordinary conference ibia is on plan na me adarma enra edinhyiamu oko venue ha Nanabi any Nemrantie no they are in charge of operations. In fact, the main committee in Ankasa Nanabi is the vice chairman to the committee. Honorable Joe Seusu, the vice and the chairman, and deputy general secretary Mustafa Haruna, secretary to the committee. Aside the main committee, the other subcommittees, names with the communications committee. So, my boss Richard Ahiabana HSR committee. So far preparations will be okay. Grounds preparation will be a media for, but we are mobile at the media village, media arrangement. Stage where can I say me free her? Me call. You go to a to I mean, you say delegates are over 6,000 plus. Delegates on free church in Bentel, my body in national. I'm one to go. Aquamu. And you know, Ubusa say they are now coming to I can't see. I say a 2 days program, a Friday and Saturday, 18th no more or less like a arrival. But Jumadi and Pompon so Kessben and Ziega Saturday. And Saturday no na yebebo the various amendments this whole conference no is about the constitutional amendment. This whole conference is about the constitutional amendment. But you see, just ask in our conference be Ziega your witness no. Every conference no 2 legs. The first leg when General Secretary will also come and give party number be a General what you say, the state of the party. Obeyesa on behalf of the chairman and then on behalf of party. We are there. The national treasurer will also have the opportunity to also address conference. Honestly, me in Sikasem, Jumadie, say baby Sikasem as a party. Then the main event, constitutional amendment. Me no say various proposals. General Secretary, National Council, and at the Akoko, so instead of a party phone be reading no much me and fair understanding or appreciation. To mobile Medina one. Now conference near Trinity, the team for the conference. In fact, about 2 days ago, and now officially launching the team now. They say rebuilding together with our values. Once it will be a so we feel values and a more yaraquine. Then as I did before, the values never said you will need the demand penny for. Into culture no no yes akwarante me nipa ni asem mo onye dey oni bim da e value as Ghanaians or as a Ghanaian o value na say untimi nipa ni nya den eni asem ni takwala no onyi na shana adwum say no matter how the situation is, no matter the circumstances, there's no way I'll be timi nipa ni bia o chen obi adi asem no wadi bim whether our prince that is our cultural value as African or as Ghanaians. What you are saying no identity e bi show It's MPP say we are rebuilding together with our values. In TNN, the same post say along the line, you slag it near fear. And I say along the line, say, Bibi atochima, ewo, yanamu tuoma, and then you never became one boom, near children for floor, near boom compound here, near chef fapim. Ah, yen and anum yen papano, forebearers, no, edited the new patriotic party.
Okay.
It is Ziega, so far so good.
Okay. Now, honorable my member was swear, now my Mesha same friend for one. Enra, energy minister. John Abujinapo Ekwekushian Central 4. Now, what you say, 202 ECG contracts and a binary terminate and a 145 orders and so underway. And also so a binary terminate. If you want to say in nano, a base a buying $227 million and only a one. A fee a buying so many at CSA PDF or some yet CSA PDF. Previous government in a cocoa sign, we should cast a more person say PDF contract in a day, Nenka and ya adebone, name the actors, Nipa na etwahwasiano, greedy, and ni brania hoya, ne sikadio, basa, ne sano mebino, and the ma contract in a coy bibio. Neze PDF no so ya demonizing one, and need your not to the new to send Kenya at the Boninia dia. At was such we can say Yabama private sector participation everywhere ECG, but non chese ye privatize ECG. And ya dia Mamma first 10 minutes.
Yeah, Ziega made that was a very now didn't share Beko Ama NDC for Titri Omo Eastern region. Near Wumpa youth organizers of Eastern region, chair OBBR. One can me who watch it, and then me who most energy nothing but
to God be the glory.
Come, researching agenda from and also a buffer home, a buffer crobia home, be enjoy.
As so many fee.
Nah, I think that last year, by this time, now campaign as I say, epic. Kakakakra.
Yeah.
Na President Mahama editor Ghana for him say the mission of coming again as president, is to reset the country. And that reset, now who be who here pa because na near maybe a M1 nipa kanko enkoso na e nyini ewo MPP aban corruption. There was no day I be sorry yente say aban mu krono bi anazaka katase shebi esi e wona na kufu ado ne ba omi aban. There was no day, almost every time na fe yen NDC for crowd no na ye high and say nya asamba kopo enjina so nka we aba na ye twene sre ne abasa no china na fofra sen aba. It became one too many. Na hits our system no. Aban mu penifo with careless abandon and almost essay akwanya essay koma timamufo entina hu be hia say baby o man na du no edu level a sizi say a flash phone near reset it near the factory setting na fi ye fi nyina e fi sa phone na phone ntimi perform efficiently enti Ghana 40 as here and nobody to me a share President Mahama esa President Mahama be president and din enu ndi nansa na ehu se phone no efim bibiri start free mu esikasem na epeja dollar na hoden no cedi na hoden no and dollar na bo head to head petrol bo na eba form yema me mo dwam ni ade na ehu videos a yetete mo so yetete anwa so yetete tinapa so yetete niema yedie anane bo ayi twamene no President Mahama reset economy no na ne bo nyina no start here den eba form amatemamfo ani age ho na no ya ene yenya nti yese President Mahama tu assembly members na aka 1,300 per month or 2 months assembly members wo omamu ha na enye asemketo President Mahama catch rom in the last year campaign say obe provide stipends the amount all assemblymen senior washers here by the end of the term.
Oh, baby, Messi,
I'm driving to a point. Please. I'm driving to a point. Let me talk. It's all about inefficiency. It's all about isn't also it's all about inefficiencies. Ziega. Assemblymen, in your salaries and President Mahama, something that MPP couldn't even conceive, say Betty Messi. Now you ask yourself some questions, say, Sasikana, President Mahama, editor assemblymen, when you're free here. Have you asked yourself that question? Because it's surprising. It is because President Mahama cut all losses, all waste in the system. To the extent, say, on one appointees, Crampo, what is due them in terms of fuel or why are willing to take everything away? But just what they say, to make some savings, you debe boa amatima for a atom. Your energy sector, chrononi dreamwa, na agent sem ewo a honum no, na nyasem kitwa. And you know, PDS collected sika over 6 months. I'm making any account to the people of this country. Says you can find any way into private sectors, private individual will be able to. Yeah, it's very hot.
It's for her Kessben 92.9. And I'm a Sugusa Muchere Kessben TV. And I'm a Sugusa Muchere. For our drink number is 0550 596 929. 0550-596-929 here WhatsApp line and a text line is 0550-567-929 0550-567-929 honorable you bet me at was so okay mami reading some messages now abanibi we will see good morning Ziega your family family free Parkoso estate and we Kumasi and Amediaba na me like to star ne pa say na we Kumasi development ho asem na unum twachia me da se pa we Benghazi na way from Kabla V or if Fupokiase Benghazi na dia boss if allowances scrapped and asset declaration are not unprecedented records in Ghana's political arena. It is something hard and tough to implement by any certain president. However, President John Mahama has taken a bold step to implement it. These milestone achievements have marveled and shamed the opposition. Okay, thank you very much. We will see good morning, sir. Please tell my NPP brothers that all what we are saying is good, but what we want is we can't fold our arms for NDC to bury us all time, bully us all time. So what we need is to bring our invisible forces, blah blah blah. So yes, vigilantism law. Hi, good morning. Please, I want more updates. The National Cathedral. All right, thank you very much. Honorable, you bet me ako. Okay, yanko.
Eti Ziega. Ghana for eto Santiana ye tintimabano. Ne binum 18 team se ne be ya ye bejo man na fi aban bonim e de aba aban papam ye bejo man na fi dum som e de aba se kania be gina so dada nyina de amai running into the elections ye who say na dum so e happen wa to the extent say ba o mi angasa ne campaign as baby e was Ashanti region of baby ye dum light phone because na government of Ghana government of the day no corruption every energy industry no ama sika SSA yeditua power producers ne ade nyina na be ka twamene I don't mind so and the government was not able to pay until abribiano these power producers what were they doing? They were threatening government, if you don't pay we take off our power.
Yeah.
6 months down the line President Mahama be president, what has changed? Leadership has changed. Leadership system we are hearing good news. Even last week my announcement said there was going to be a nationwide blackout because of certain challenges near there. A lot of people were programming things. But light of Ranya because of leadership. So $227 million would have been monies that we would have paid for. But for leadership, it can go to certain areas like paying stipends to assemblymen. That's what I'm trying to arrive at. Because of proper leadership by President Mahama Debaye, any mission done any so say operation reset the economy. No, we are seeing the deliverables. Is this not good news enough to tell you say President Mahama reset the economy? Nana. And the MPP, what were we discussing? You discussing say Ye thermal plant, Ameri, every Takradi Abakumase, almost $500 million. Sikachitri die, those were the things that we were hearing under energy. You doom light anyhow in this country, and people could not even plan their lives. For the past 6 months, you have progress our energy industry, you have efficiency. Now, and before sorry, I know President Mahama Peso Ton ECG near a home Kroneba. Yeah, Energy Minister Maakye, as I said, they are not selling ECG. Privatizing part of ECG responsibility doesn't mean say you ton ECG they are a certain private industry. But because of losses we are AC in that industry, the ECG is a government company, but just what and a buyer of a basono appointed boards near MDs near there. So government have some hand in the performance of ECG. Over a long time, ECG incur losses. Why? Because they are unable to deal with issues like illegal connections and other things. Or be connected illegal or enjoy power now. Somebody have to pay at the end of the day. And that's coming in our here or Maineka. So you're doing pen so be even in 2016, MIDA set up roadmap to privatize some aspect of ECG responsibility. Said they only to me I recover Sasikado Dona and power no econo. I mean, if they sell power like 10 cities, they should be able to at least recruit 90% of whatever 10 cities. Assistance, ECG sometimes ain't even recover even 50% of power or motor. I hope you understand. And you have to take leadership to take a certain decision. Because you take that decision now close to gap, no? I'm ECG and TB cover, if not 100%, but close to 100% of Sika power or motor. You be doing pempen, so you come back to doing so again. Okay. And President Mahama says that I'm resetting the economy. And this morning they have served as a piece of good meal. Okay. So President Mahama's leadership, and led by John Jinapo, saving and $227 million. Okay. This is monies that we are saving. And the MPP, those monies were monies that we were wasting. Okay.
Kwabia, Mamencha chairman Ahmed, Issa Ahmed, chairman Edema Ora Eriko Poku, a Greek minister. Chairman Issa Ahmed, baby will be a church now for South constituency chairman. Baby will be a church pa or Sankori and I will share CCR. Honorable
Ziega. On the home I 20 minutes, but he could still not.
Me man 11 minutes because of break now. You call now. What do you soon?
Whatever minutes out the man. I don't know program. The problem, but you see, many are not time out the man and he could not make any proper idea. Subject langas crowd to a new journey free home of himself with Chiniba. It's early days yet, yes. But I know Ziega. NDC national organizer, NDC third vice chairman, they are under investigation for their involvement in Galamsey. So damning, bad news for Abaya, any even Abosome Ngoche. Say a whole national organizer of the party, a whole third vice chairman of the party. Abaye so glaring, Abaye so open to the extent say Attorney General no cover oma enye. Enteneno the obayare say obe save party no. It was here investigate them for their involvement in Galamsey. And it's not just them. And NDC constituency chairman for Nyina Galamsey. NDC from a tribesi from Obi Galamsey.
Oh, also very awful.
And Ziega meba kwanu. Ati say meanwhile this is the government I'm promising and say they are coming to fight Galamsey. But that is not a problem. You be job na Ghana for na kasa de omani de actually. O they not in China. Ziega you know when this is I say amambo na omo ba bebu here no o tie me nua so bi tie no radio so and obi hwe no TV so no nse da nim na obebu say papa ya de o campaign na they have forgotten say we are no longer on the campaign trail. Ziega and omo new opposition they should stop talking like an opposition party. You are government. You made a lot of promises. You said so much and the people believed. Fix the problems and stop complaining. Fix the problems. Leadership is about fixing problems, solving problems. Leadership is not just about coming to talk to us, explaining the issues that we already know. They should transit from a party in opposition now they are in government. Most say cathedral for DC. You are in government. Go and arrest them. You commission a whole investigation body. You say cathedral be any ska. Atroni akohwe mu di kire Ghana for no. Nyankopon nam kwan papa so pa mo honto ma ba ko.
Wake energy no.
Maybe energy no. I'm talking about people holding public offices are they are kasa. And he talked about doom so Mr. Ziega. Opa bietum na ma Ghana for nchiro ma dwere MPP ni ndise him for the manage energy sector ni. We inherited doom so from you in 2016. Doom so Ghana opa adwuma na Kofi ekura na yem hyehyw.
And 8 years you gave it.
Yeah, by any fixed for 7 years we kept the lights on. Yes, in our last year, final year, and they experiencing some kind of power shortages. It's a fact. We may try mediatro, but as quickly as possible, the government reorganizes itself and they're fixing it. We need 3 months more and the doom back because Oba na Ghana phobia be renew say Oba NDC abanya President Mahama doom so ka ho. It's already Ghana phone be brain na psychologically no more suffer because when you say papa ya Oba idie ye besa ko doom so ampa. We did the first 3 months we were in doom so and then Georgina Pokromo want to kasa echere no did this kasaya and then he's the minister and he's still talking. Ziega, let's put on record. Ziega, let's put on record the MPP government and Ziega why is Centurion who experience we inherited $250 million energy sector debt. As at the time when another than Kwaku free power of all the efficiency that was brought into the energy management, the data $250 million. We kept the lights on. We did a lot of changes our energy sector maintenance near the Adibebre. Yes, I increase accumulation power with generation capacity.
You didn't add anything.
Oh, Ziega, you are there. Ziega, you are there.
How much did you add to our generational capacity?
Ziega, I didn't add anything. But the Ghana for I mean, I don't even have to be distracted. But the bottom line is that MPP government inherited $250 million energy sector debt. Amanya shimu jane doom so ye ba ye fix doom so no ye fix doom so ni wie no upon expansion ni ade ye mimi constituency Ziega and I challenge you pa me nipa me no frɛ Abraham Asat Akufo-Addo eba be president na communities mako 47 and ehun kanea omo da sum kwoti aboahwa ye mo botwe nim nyansa twanyi so omo nyina na omo da sum okay the infamous pronouncement bi am MP ko ye parliament obobo nkuro di before say kwoti aboa hwa ye mo bo twanyi so atwe nim nyansa only oni mo pa watena hopen entunim Ziega Richard ni mo pa edeni an dem ye so ansa na busu afọ ni kwoti aboa etimi ni Ziega ya timi din kanea ko 44 out of the 47 communities na no mu kanea da no and another dan ko Akufo-Addo ni Ora John Frimpong as MP. And this is a fact, the record is there. That is in one constituency. Ziega, yeah. That is in one constituency. So, and Yera Mahmoud Baumia, a campaign manifesto promise. Or think about building a lot of solar panel system. I didn't generate any Kenya. Because Minia, Ziega, electricity bill, what in Crayon, and Crayon is a ECG phone in Sahano, Udi Bonia. Media phoning in our hand you can easily be uncovered. It's a hand and most of the meters in are prepaid. Ziega what you say? But how come cronky to a mupana the way I used to for punkro komu or one ubejane. Ubetimi ya juma bosumi ni now do sika in Kutuan Kanya. Me fear me I'm quantity and I challenge them. They are and me say I'm 1,600. Anytime I'm rich share be am catch no. The old woman said that she's not using anything. Fan continue fan that. I don't penny with you. But ma bila okombebu. Ya no ma betwa kaniem. Ya no twa. Omo banso kura na. Omo kesiri bi so journey hantani am so because NDC full soldiers no ma kwaso ma be go. Tombo mu obia. Ziega, o dia no to nchan ya. O hwe enhyehyaya na nka Yera Mahmoud Baumia de ba senko be because of solar na nko de ba no. E ka nyina mu kania na yetua nka 50% ebeko. It is a would allowed be 200 Ghana, can be 100 Ghana. And then this is cumulatively, no matter to almost more than 20% in just 6 months in office. In just 6 months in office. Now we are about to announce so much Kasa settings government. They are not doing anything. Practically, they are not doing anything. And they say, let's get the optics right. The politicking around governance, one say Nana Akufo-Addo did a lot of work, but they are so boy Akufo they want to say Nana want me manage optics ni. Nana want me manage the politics. No say they've not done any tangible thing. Abukolanchi Ajuma Pass Ajuma Ura even source of funding, they could not even tell us how they are going to be making money to run the initiative. Kasa settings ni asesa so for kogu dem ni amom bibi kakra ni oma bompa ye National Day of Prayer optics kwa optics
aso for ben edom
o basa mo na wan hu bi o mahama na say on so for kogu dem so bompa ye ma no
e wa enfa
e Jubilee House u bisa say enfa na jiga wo hu bi
o ba me de me unim ni the prayer and thanksgiving service that national prayer and thanksgiving service
that was before national prayer Agrada Krako be back first one interior minister na yeye.
Oza.
Emma on my Agrada ID card, a complimentary card. Agrada say I'm here, I'm with interior minister. It was all over social media. Second one, Yoro Mahama na Musa Sasofo. That is not governance. You see, you can use propaganda to win power. But when you have you can't use propaganda to govern a country. And the IMF, I benchmark of them, about 18 of them, they could only meet 4. They could only meet 4. This is settings government. Settings. Okay. And Kasa lamentations.
Okay.
The Bia Kasa, you are in government. The people, you spoke so much, you lied to the people against the previous government. And then at all to me.
Okay.
Instead of you to concentrate and fix the problems, you are still telling us the problems we already know.
Okay.
All right. The problems highlighted to the Ghana.
Ziega.
Honorable Timmy. Obebem. Na yom ti yom edrobi efenu yom herbal lotion
papa we here
na yom herbal lotion obi ahonam na ayoya obi ahonam eyoya wakobobo na wonan africhi anase buobuo usisi yoya wanum no wo wiase na enko painkillers wo wiase na wanum enko yom wayade bia oho africhire eyawo ya saa baby ayoya bia no yom na tie. The difference between yum and other ointment and I say lotion say on say a do o say oh baby car yes o confirm do we choose 10 minutes na ko on say about 30 sadem yes 15 minutes na ko oh fa ko dade be na ko yum de ntisa yum a medical science and ye dey dey make what I say it is so the tree na ko tie ni o it is some magic yum herbal lotion would the tree ya pa na ko and then some would you try 5 minutes 10 minutes baby sana yom tie and then some would you try na konintino would you try na kwa san ba baby yom ntisa yom eti bodily pains joint pains abnormal cramps headache utibja gaga neck pain ebia na wa acid reflux and I say bibi ti ama won ko no utwa kradwa wada akon so uhia yom stroke and abubudu agu stroke ahudu bia sanya titi bia no uhia se de yom ebesasra wo arthritis eteto ye twetwa nuane ama honam yira wontimi ni wa kono de yom open wounds se epra bia emu bia no yom ene bedu asem e de ama na yom se se opa ba ku sei akwa yusu ana apedodo etu akoto nam se ne dipa tuagu so mo toni no ene otu du hu jim kofa bi ton a enso to na so anya bi wanya sika we one district one factory and to yom se men kan cho se frɛ number we sisi a 0244 730 295 0244 730 295 and 030 2945146 030 2945146 and yom what was say buy use and promote and end yom aya magic na mutie ye kwa mask on ho abasisi e ba ye be kwa Abdulkumanov na me nkofo no aye krado pa for Abdulkumanov na enei odiaba odi ma yi de chepam beba
mata de ya
chepam wa pam yi papa chepam okay so yankoi in mascon am ya suma dwe ye se ma hia in mascon
enokre yo abusianfoni kamfa enchia sonko moduro emfree imascon estate Ghana limited asoye baby biada wo hye yen awafidi kasie so ene baby biada wo tie ye no yemfa enchia sonko emrewo na ya chewa wie no ne ye kase imascon fo de bia ye ba ye bompa ye edema mu ye mpa gbo nyina ene se o twedi ampon kwame onyankopon bo so bo asase no wontom kwanam na afei wo meskan so emra mu botom ebi se so to kwanam na onyini che na wonya skan so a watene ba ko a ewo trim ene se obeto asase pa na wotuma sidan papa bi ede esi so sade be ya woni wabusua mo nso so mo ho enkyere mu e wo ba a modi mutiri betum ne masomdwe eno nti Imascon Estate Ghana Limited ye bompa ye wi emawia ne aka tro se ene etutu anamo na bra ya so ye hono mo na se wo ba wo benya ensase papa manso sembiada eni so ensase papa hun krata sam eye genuine ensase papa sa wo to a eye bona fide property ensase papa sa wo to a woni obia enya ntokwasam ya landguard ni bia ensori mejan so so obekun so obebo so obetataw anadien sa wo hawo no wo to ya sase ya wonya ebi ewo so asase asa wo to a meso betimi ede ato more than 10 years no to kwan akọ abrochire ana baby biada wutu kwan akọ to abrabo so apesika no asan aba be hyase na menua watimi esiwu dan papa bi ana wa bi o company papa bi ewa asase ne so de ntia me kan wanyina da ene se Imascon Estate Ghana Limited yensas papa ya ton ya ene ya kasa fa be hyem ewo eyesusu for land promotion na wonso timi to bi na aseche nyina ene se ansa na yem yabedi asase no ede afa busuanfo ho anempo wahini bi ho ane nipa bia de ode asase no be man no na yedi kan ene saafo no ede won komo na na montu bia de wose yetu no na no nso na yetu awie sade be ya yenso ye bo cheni yeton de mawa wunya asem bia da ewa asase no akiri Imascon Estate Ghana Limited so many years enye anenkramantam yeton ensase ede ma ye customers asem bia da ema ho wa bia da ema akire apart from nkoma yedi ewa akire ansan ya jensase no ede afi na nanom nsam nianso abochabo aton ede ma ye customers no yensa kansase no apeno na yede ni akyem ewa lands commission asoye ni akwa di tumi krata di ye adwuma afenso mo department a wom register ensase no yede kan akọ no nyina ta register yensase no eno ntisa ye to ansase no ede mawa wa bia da eni akire adansidie ni bebe bia da chese ya register yensase no eno nso so ye mawo enu nti yensase no ye kasa ne ye nsiesie bo panse yensase no eye papa ya asem bia da eni akire na won krata asem so eye genuine enu nti bomadi abrai na beto yensase bi ebusamsi yensase no eye title land eye registered lands and ye ton dia mawo ni sisubio me se ewon krata asem eye genuine entimi kanama kase eye registered lands and ye ton mawo eye title lands and ye ton ya ye de ema wo enu nti mini ya wutie me mini ya wo hwa me ewo Kessben afidikasie so yeso otrofo no say me dance ni ewo abrochire enu nti wo de bra yensasa ye pa wutawre eno ane de ato Kessben TV stream ya woni a wo mudi yachi ekore sade yensasa ni esitie ansa no mudi ska ba beto ase na wo mu aba beto bie no bomadi abra na bra be hye eno ne de grader esiso a yedwi so kama ediama we the attention susu for land promotion ya Imascon Estate Ghana Limited for ya ba wutawo se fa be hyem na beto ensase papa bi menia ya diama obi biada ya ediama obi biada wo bia ka wo se wo ya ba adwuma ani se wo ya ankrankram se wo ton ade se wo pam ade se wo ya welder adwuma bia wo ya bia no ya se wo nso so wo sana fata se wotumi nya asase pa edifi Imascon for ya so ye enu nti bomadi an sorry na ebra beto yensase bi na rusa yensase ya bo ntawre no enu no ewo Tripoli na Tripoli America no ewo Greater Accra region ya emu ewo Greater Accra region ya emu eni voter region sade otore bia amanfo binim adwene eye wo no ewusia twopoli aye kenom ewo tema eni dowenya kwan so sa wo tra tama kakra bi na wo tra ni go prampram edru eye dowenya wo nche biada na wadu twopoli ba bia yen sas ne ewo no wudu dowenya ewo no mu ena Central University ewo nso ana sagleme affordable house taka wansam no eno nso so ewo wudi fi samia mienu amabodin ekọ twopoli ba bia yen sas ne wo no ekwan enwa wusi masisia no na wadru erusia gie no mesin na dia kan memfa enka ho ye no ma edikan no eye 0553 840 646 0553 840 646 and 0553 838 730 0553 838 730 and 0209 155 437 0209 155 437. You must confirm numbers aufra when sabaka yen eni erusian sadia meka no se ukodu twopoli baby yen sas ne ewo no a ensas ne eda so te se park so ewo no te se desert so yen sas ne enida techem ana enida ensuonsuom afei emu amremu ana bipo etifinu akase ebia nsuo te bia beyira fawo ana nsuo ntote bia tetebebo fie ana bi mponu a eda amremu nte no wo beni ha ana eda bipo no atifintie bia se ye de ne entesa awon me ye flat te se park so enu nte na de bia mba me ka cho se kodoka ntensa airport mpanifo wo ma wusadi assassin city enu nti wo ma ba beji bi awo ye nchene a enche biada one by the new airport city one more. It is a woto immense consensus bedu brebe no na airport residential area na wotie afenso sofo pani Reverend Sam Kwanchan Crown so wa beji asas yantam we dia ne nchen wo bedi campa du asas nsansa na wotra wa kwaso pani so de so a wasi eye asodan kese a wo me ya asori ewo ho eni party around wo no tata ani ensas ne egukwa ho enu tie ensas ne eni forest mu eni kwaye bretio mu ensuo ni nkane obeton wade bedu juma no de yenso ba beto asas no sudan ye connect ne de amawo afa yensas no ye wan ye pudio nso ewo so ya yesi beto asas no na abusa yemfa anwane enche watu nafa ani yetu eye amenakasa atwi nsuo ede agum sade be ya wo beto asas no na wo hya sese udan nsuo so no enwonya din emawo na yensas ya ka wansemi one plot no eye 32,000 cedis yenyen misanka mantem sason board nenso ye de ateso sade be ya mredi amawo na watimi atuama wato enti one plot ye say be fa ni 32,000 cedis na eno ne yesi di kan efa 8,000 Ghana cedis beto asie wodi 8,000 to asai do kwa asase ne so ye kotwa wodi ediama yema kwan ese hyase sudan ana ye de opebia ewo so uguso awusie no 24,000 ebeka no ye di 2 good years emfiem yenum a ana di so aspere ediama setian kakaka no nteno asechense bosu bia no 1,000 Ghana cedis pe ana wodi bebre yen afa obi onso epe half plot no eye 16,000 Ghana cedis 16,000 cedis eno so ye si di kan fa 4,000 beto asie na uguso awusi udan bre ya to asase ama no na 12,000 beka no eno so 1 year 12 months and ye di so di amount edi 1 year na 12 months no eno so bosu bia 1,000 cedis ena wode bebre ye enti ya gunu yemam edi amount yesa asase ye di so kama ye bibia di amawo enti ya pesa wonto na otimi tobi na otwa ne kakrakra erusia ya office no e was Sprinters Road Community 18 Junction Sprinters Road Community 18 Junction yani Allied Filling Station wo kwan so ena di hwani mu yesa ben KFC baby omuton aduane no erusia ye na da de bia denti na gidie ni awehemu na beto yensa CB ebra ye kogie no message twato na woni ye eni enkomo eye 0553 840 646 0553 840 646 and 0553 838 730 0553 838 730 and 0209 155 437 0209 155 437 Imascon Estate Ghana Limited Susu for land promotion say papa ye na ta foundation neto ensase bi onyankopon onhia pa
nyame so hia pa ya da se pa na sabredie Obatampa Prostate Center for Semen Kancha was say why ye prostate ho adwuma for over 40 years nyame adomo enuro bia omonko na the whole Africa omobi etu Semen Kancha was say obi a odwonso frequently ze bia wada na wo da ye no sore no akodwonso no asore no akodwonso o ya wo so ensuo ya menum ye ntira edo ya menum ye ntira nya nu ntira obi adwonso na ayi wom emoja kakra wom obi also so adwonso wie ya wo to ne zipri ma mo se as dwonso de bia kamese o sa akodwonso biem enum sensama obi a ya short katika o ya short kapita obi a ya shaw rubber mo asa na meka ana se prostate no ailagia sakoye cancerous no o how to atwa ko Obatampa Prostate Center ni to ase mfama yankura na awade adom ye se aduro no Obatampa Prostate Center for o ye kira kwanya your 50 plant last stop eno no kaswa to yenya no road ho na behu Obatampa Prostate Center for obehu ye kira kwan friend number we sisi 0553 800-678 0553-800-678 and 0553-800-678 eno eyo Obatampa Prostate Center sabredi ye kwa ablekuma arabo ya mame chance fafu honum ablekuma ayi 19 police stations ye ko run ye no NPP4 omo ankasa gitu mi se nya de a kombeko but yenim de si ye ehu ya ne se omo contest ama ye yakoya ablekuma election but enoma course no wo hwe political analysts social commentators ni ade a about 90% of blames any violence ko ni na no esi NDC for na yes ade no and the minority for in parliament call say Madam Hannah Bisiu NDC National Women Organizer wasaya MIF chief executive no aban engine adwuma fafini say na o instigate e fene violence ho and abranti e fene Malik Basintele also why e boss no President Mahama enyinedi mama 7 minutes on this
Ablekuma yenyina I observe election the course and this is not the first time I buy elections. There have been several by-elections since 1992. Ablekuma, boni bi anyway si Ablekuma. Shiensi e Ablekuma. Ya witnessing elections in this country in 2020. The Chima is out. Ya tutuo ekunipa collation center. We saw it. From here na nya by-elections for Iowa so here. I don't know former MP. It was a sitting MP, Sam George. You saw it. You saw the slaps. You saw the affront. You saw the violence. Senior, bulldoze. Macho men, Russian, no, na ye buno. We saw all of that. A friend is saying, Jachikwe in Honum, Ascend North. Abwa papon kwa ba no kura Land Cruiser stretch. The whole kete sa no at the front. And now macho men aje chire hwayema. Another Land Cruiser, macho men. Another Land Cruiser, macho men. Me, baby polling station, they came to cause violence.
Ascend off
here. Abwa papo. Na mo sankrofo ya mo de Ghana to me nyina share mo nsem. Etieti obi amfa hodie so. Kakra we esi wa ha no mo se yen obi adi, yen hwan adi. So o my den, Malik why den? Bone be na Malik aya o, ma me ne se yen adi. What has Malik done? 5K men or kind. They will see exponential of that. Exponential of that. I'm telling you. For which reason somebody must apologize. What happened there? Who will say Obi ba na macho men dinachi? Politician be aware in this. Why?
Let's be real. I saw Basintele coming with the
5K men, no, yeah, men, Nancy and Mabawa, Abribia proud to 2024 election.
Not all the quiet, and
send Nipa the call.
Not me bow on the
by election, no, Nipa the call. It's national elections. By elections there, taking national coverage. Obia baby, Obia or persuaded to a certain political idea bia.
So how come that you are also urging your opposing political party say your uncophobu hanamu hiyomo?
Why?
If so be to me koha.
Oh, obia to be called, but just that there are restrictions. Some a friend is saying, Malik, I'm 5,000 men and go police stations there. Monsani amount. One and no di Malik a chair who's so contokwa. One and who say Yatutu Eddie Abobi. Did you find anything like that? This is one of the most peaceful bar elections ever happening under John Dramani Mahama. Ono Mahama na okra pepper spray na or the call hono. Then pan and I won it 3 more or 50 no of pepper spray share no. Even police is not allowed to carry pepper spray to a polling station. Yeah. The NDC government is trying to withdraw everything arms on election grounds. And don't you fear we by election call Ablekuma. Please for your mama for 2 alcohol.
Ba uka say they see Ablekuma no eye ketu e so they should expect a more and akwati a
they should expect more than 5,000.
More say madam how come say bono no na ye enti na person okay the omo expect the honorable
omo expect say mrantie dem maba wa omo do NDC omo pe NDC ebinyina ba begu akwati a
obi a won to abani bi kra
and now very campaign on the party na how is saying is he at fault to campaign for his party? They have that freedom to come in and then speak to people and campaign. Now so be ban the pepper spray send who ba we will definitely deal with that person. My men pepper spray or the send who are police for crime and crab, you know. That alone is an offense on the grounds. But thankfully, and I'm saying when the papa or your president in tea, yan to ambobia. Obia yan asumdie ya to abawie omadincho ya dinkudi.
So madam how akumsin why establish say or the fifie na buy and I say a man tell the ban no obi the man wo ho and I say
obi the man say fire dey wo ye dey
obi ni pe ban so abeku
police for ho
the police no multiple
people ban so video no wa hu be watch and if you even no for ase
I see
or even no for ase na wa
do we have to encourage situation whereby obi gina the baby on poverty obia no ojida hono ma
how do you determine so provoking
oh that be just see a video no
but the video doesn't give you explicit you say why but that no is
solving problem
omunya no hwe obi anya no hwe what have they done to our say yeah who Sam George other Sam George say be ni moja e blue ni moja e green
but
ni moja e red and nobody spoke about it even how
honorable
the body were in subsequent previous elections
honorable Timmy we are not here say ye condone violence you understand
of course
Sam George the ene buy no eno na me share so man de drafty pass the anti-vigilantism law land guard no all this stuff to make us ade no eto atwa de make what say enti e koye election bi say necessary ne san ba na chese pese e chese sa mra na useless
then aba I don't know. That's why I disagree.
So Bijane baby ni akoto ahye no super se yebo.
Ah, the crap pepper spray.
So did they I'm buwu ma no because of some who say na pepper spray kuta.
And I say pepper spray.
We saw a video. The woman was standing there.
So why did she come with that predetermined mindset? And to kwabe no ni obi wa of pepper spray.
And I'm just a pepper spray no. Is it established so the fifie na buy and I say a mob ne ban so obi the man kude and I say
and it is not captured in the video so be the share.
Okay, so mob no ban
the video so no yi pepper spray.
So no mob ban ho abeg.
So no so spray mo yeden. Police for that one yeden.
Okay.
This government I withdraw all arms, everything harmful, every polling station. Okay. Yeah, bra Malik Basintali. Your year wa Ablekuma no me see ye times 3 ye exponential of it in Akwatia.
Okay.
Ye boa dom na no e de akogu Akwatia age seat na ma NDC.
Okay.
Omupo.
Krobia times 3 e ba Akwatia.
Starting 14. Time is very important.
That was 5 or 6.
Yeah, me man 7 minutes.
7 minutes. So starting 14.
That no kind of crazy.
Ziega, stop it.
Time no woman am start come on.
Fair arguments. O man the time. Yeah, the time.
Come on.
You see, the way I mean you and a disappointment. That's a typical NDC.
Of course, I'm a typical.
On the or Ghana for you as I said, because you see, or no person and said the CI and Ghana and be condemn, including some members of the NDC. We are reasonable enough not condemn it. But look at how my own brother, Richard, how I was just a person near call. I'm not telling him, so the question is, into more year. Omo Nuyama. Now, if you could this, Nyaman Sam say, or Basia, I'm not about 30, Elko Baba Copeso. Or Baba Cope. I'm not about 30, you call yourself men. Or Babasia that for men, Titi, and said you come over, and you are not ashamed of it. Now, Castle, we now could feel called roll, you're holding down more who they are. Oh, no, me. We are young politicians. We need to learn from good practices. What is wrong yesterday cannot be justified today. And when they are talking, they make reference to Ayawaso, as if say this impunity is starting for Ayawaso. We witnessed Chiripone. We witnessed Talensi. We witnessed the first Akotia. And so now, this I am not sending Kokoti, sending a jump on any Bonica Semno, and the man people anybody also, and your boy who you show Akotia, your children be Krabu Akotia. Sorry, Atiwa. Your children be Krabu Atiwa. I know this is why your margins over your mama. You see, MPP is MPP a party. It's not as if say, MPP, actually Ghana home because Opa for currency no, or my sican, shares we back home. Now share impending for the big success from the Koji Ghana see on the Mumakumakobayan 4 a MPP 4. I could for the bush 4. It's Ghana and Casacran and Ghana a corporate body. MPP is the majority shareholder. It's a dear Biana won Wakuma woman say no. It is almost this annual Manasam Nayana Toda. You share the effects. Siankasi ye share retaliate. There will not be any Ghana for us. But let's caution them. Let's caution them that Nanado de Sebu, Yemu bin in Anyajuni, Ebra or yes, disbanding and vigilante any I don't know. Because Krum haven't even trusted security, especially the police. And police for that let me make my statement, please. Don't make him say, won't even trusted security, especially the police. And after the police, they are handicapped. That's the statement I'm making. We don't know handicap. Police for we don't know handicap. Didn't you see what happened there?
What happened?
We don't know handicap. Who is the police for our resource room here? And the amount of that recognition as police can this for me. Sans and phone Godino. I'm asking you that question, Ziega. Let's not try to be I saw how passionate you were. Listen, who was the question? Ziega. Meaning say you were so disappointed. Should the way we peer police for the Kragun chain a Bora premises. Police they wanted to do something, but they were handicapped. That is a fact.
But my name is yes, who can come up if Runaka Kamadampai. Yansha before day nebebano. The William Yamusisabo. Okuta moto over 200 people. More than 200. Now almost share yes blue arm. Now show videos from Moya. Onya sure send na inciting Kofi who say NDC for so ye na wa bam the same na Kofi o ma promise o mo be dia and ye na ho say onya sure send na call inciting Kofi mas ade ne buy.
It has its own euphoria. A by election. It has its own.
It wasn't a campaign. It wasn't a campaign. It is something that videos. Wow, we base on San
and when euphoria deba. It's a okoboko
but negative euphoria.
Did I say negative euphoria?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. But say every by election when euphoria Ziega. It's a kotokone has a kobo. Won't supporter we are going to do has for the Shioma. You say Emma Agroni Yede. Moses Abomrante and home. Be honest with yourself. Apart from saying, right, Ghana, is it illegal to be riding motorbike? Is it illegal? It's not illegal. What you say? They were just saying, so we are storming Abrikwa. Me come here, video. I did ya grow, meaning I quabri Kumamuna Mumra, Yabashim, Hayashim Havia, Shimon is the outcome of the elections, the baby Timua, Yavia, Yakobi Timua Kotia. Now, yes, Unia when this was a crop Yabua, yes, you knew that's if you are honorable how I come sing cry, can I say me, Mr. Ziega. A bro could do, Shankoman only Minia Mustafa Bandi Ebo. Unya video ni bishay.
And me nyame hesa.
Oni Mustafa Bande more than 20 minutes. E di agro ye be wini mu ye nwini mo bon komo sere. That is how politics should be. Many rich dey free bia you could do. Every time you ever TV should be a basic for me. It's like a brother. By everyone when this for nankasa na o my hon kokram. Which in the tia obesere won animu so dey won adwene mu. But that is not a good attitude, any good behavior. But Ziega and MPP we are much awake. And the party for be proposes a young for me protection unit. So political party there. Political party are over capacity to win national elections. What about Muda? Won't mean say you are there without internal security. You need to make sure yourself have resource with internal security. So the a dream maybe because Omaya a woman Ziega. Obia ni say security and every other state agency be obiano. Almost towards the government of the day. Almost towards for the government of the day. Etene agency be okroma be at the moment aban bese san no mu nyina asesan. Automatically no ma be yes amanyoko na ewo aban mu nkrofo. And that is understandable because I are building a system na ba be. But I'm telling you say Ziega, I'm telling you over 31. I'm telling you say anybody I will try to justify what happened in Abrekumanov no heartless. Anybody I will try to me. I'm not even interested in whether I say Yempam will be an Yempam, but the minority has made a very reasonable point. If the president of the day, if he send a course, no, me my video be here. Mrantiana, this Mransom will be who Jubilee House. People are even alleging say they were prepared from Jubilee House. That I cannot confirm, but I've seen a video. Nibia, I strongly believe that we should not allow some of these things to be happening.
Okay.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, a statesman, and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, 4 years now, Obabedino, he wants to build a legacy.
All right, thank you very much.
It is an NDA for this Ransom. He should be bold enough to come out and condemn.
We are calling on them, so Deputy National Communication Director
to investigate this hooliganism.
Okay, Edema New Patriotic Party. All right, Mama, a minute each. Mama, a minute each. Yaka Yokone illegal tax force aba ne Attorney General I directly say I'm pushing investigation into it now. Kaibu group of company for some culture was say and then opeka papa patwa ho do en kofa sem family mo from asoye Kaibu besamo ebesai abasisia yebesa abasia mo fanchempa na ahmuka hit patch Amaka hit patch for some culture say we hina fa na yo ya wakobo ball na fichi ukotoge yo ya usisi na yo ya we tip gaga migraine one tele no na paracetamol sai enkoda ade ba ade na how wo yafunu wudun sem mia wo yafunu si ete se de wakwakoye jema na say wakoye training stomach ama wo yafunu ya wo yasa one no wo wiase na entimi enkoda eya ahmuka hit patch ene bedu wasbama o yo ba menstrual cramps e ba na de wada na calendar yes wo no kono no ene date yesei eni kwa se eyesa ahmuka hit patch no ayesa plaster no etise o waya o se eye green mo amuhwe television no ene Facebook mo se eda TV no so akrobot ekuta akrobot no yes eti green no wote ano a afemo se plaster no be yi plaster no na ade bi tere plaster no so I say black bisa na wa white side no afa baby ayo ya no na o dia tare ho o de tare ho 12 hours e be pen ni na gagu plaster no ma pen ni ma biam kura mu tie ni ye ene se ekona asen aba e ma biam kura we e ahomka hit patch obi a okoyo ya obi a uti yo ya obi a shoulder yo ya o chest sciatica na etete wa arthritis e ahomka hit patch na oba Ghana hasia baby abenya biato ankra hasei ayo origin chemist ad pharmacy DM sphere sub health obenya biato ukokumasia Dani Pharma Alpha Duo and a Panacea pharmacy obenya biato Kofodia or Gapsin pharmacy and a Eastern chemist Tamale so ya Malarigo pharmacy, Takra dia we Buaka pharmacy and a knock chemist. Ahumka heat patch. Now umka heat patch na soto enti su kojibi neton oto abenya mfasoa kama and asa pebi akwa use akwa san ho yare number no 0599 802297 0599 802297 and 024850 9003 024850 9003 and 0536645 0536645 Amaka heat patch feel no your heat feel heat no na ensa yare. Okay gentlemen, quickly my member just 2 minutes 2 minutes kwa me say endu kwa bia my chance em free honum 2 minutes na yen to apo say dia ba bedru no say yoko say me no ka say interior sorry attorney general ashe yoko say omo chance na omo push investigation into the illegal task force bia your suspect say owura Joseph Yamin, organizer, national organizer, Edema National Democratic Congress first vice chairman, owura abanga and so akwakoye and no akoko fans and simple braba me so my mema 2 minutes square so my mema 1.5 minutes.
Story I'm sharing and say they are to be investigated for their involvement in Galamsey.
I said in na ye kan wasem.
And you see, listen to also, I am even surprised. Say these are the two people they can be mentioned. But I can understand the Attorney General because Okase Odidin and this form involved in Galamsey we've all seen videos. Baby any anyaso constituency chairman. A Rastaman because try the mining sites or pay. Say anyaso chairman and a Galamsey ye ni mom MP ayo enchi.
Mr. Unum bitimi to was allegation are making no. Mesre say o kana o the actualities account verbal actuality na wa allege Mr. Wa na asebi so obeka bi obeka no say on authority no Kessben 92.9 Kessben TV yeni na ye stop exaggerating
I'm telling you about social media video as it has been trending. I
know social media some say
but communications I now creating news no.
Why are you making
commenting on it no. News now making here. Are you not referring to a statement you read?
Credible,
so let's stop this triviality. We are trying to create gimmick. No, where then? I am saying that I'm surprised. And that the list must because we have seen people alleging or accusing a lot of NDC constituency chairpersons as doing Galamsey. I don't know why they. It is Kessben. Because we are communicating. You detach Kessben. No, don't do that. Anyway, sir.
You want to
purge your panelists just because of what? I am saying that constituency chairman or one yaso baby any. I have seen a video. There was a video all over social media. Rasta young man be ejina concession be okase ne yiri pe DCs ya demand dia ni kunu be open Pandora box ama ni kunu recently Vasco dadie so MCE trip machine MPP kofa baye won't be minority leader kran kan wan say or the Galamsey won't be un ready bi woni kroma na ahemfo ewo enche win any MPs etiado anoma so we saw videos was say Oman Crawford chairman Oman Crawford Oman national security for Enwa forest mu.
Okay
Ziga, let's do this country a good service mama ya nya atwem kroma nya atwem ha dodo MPP you will say it as it is. And the NDC intino oh yeah there oh take us me a free one as I said no that singular act I demand apology from you. It was very unfair. No,
honorable,
you don't do that. Oh yes,
honorable. I understand Kobia and any frustration.
No, I don't have any frustration.
He has not won himself out of defeat of 2024. Akakakra. You understand? Point is that government, you see a reset. President Mahama government, Nyansa a busu on the team, and harmonize all task force into one. But just all this here. And what is central task force near they all mining anti-Galamsey responsibility. Assure Monsa. If there is any other team be on chain, that's almost more call about hunting people in illegal mining more. They have to bring them to a halt. And I mean himself honor sa issue pointed to. maybe
it should not just be for the optics.
Maybe no. If abano etimi at constitute investigation into its own party leaders. In the past, upon Kroma no more MP, no more mining, illegal mining. Maybe because I've said it.
Upon Kroma,
they may catch our neck. A typical galamsey man. I challenge you on this.
Doesn't even own any money.
It's never true. It's never my gentleman. Thank you very much.
I will not let this pass. It will never pass. No, Ziga. Ziga, unpack your problem. My Richard in Pack your problem.
People that vote for him.
My Richard in Pack your problem against him. Oponkroma is a very decent Ghanaian.
The same word.
Great Ghanaian. These are the people who will not destroy the environment.
Emma want to meet.
This is what they allowed to stand.
I know they are
here. Immediately.
Oh, Godfather, Church goals can
goals
we are not good.
Richard, upon Kroma de na wa kan no.
Ziga me na upon family support
me
specific now
if you are not, may say apologize for that. True. But if you are not, may catch a case before say moi yetie for ne yahwe for is unfortunate say or accuse you honorable Kojo upon Kroma former minister of work and housing so oya galamsey
who is not noble
yeah fear who the free and the free sir ayina honorable Richard
or immigration officer your friend Van Hessen and yeah Kamama Richard that posted Richard
ma onya hana jola kaba
or your immigration officer na anopa bia no or Kessben TV into a semi-mission.
Also,
a friend of Van Hessen.
Obama.
Richard.
Where is the
Richard post video no.
Okay, thank you very much. Happy birthday to Mami Go Stars. Happy birthday to Mami Go Stars. Women organizer for the Bienu Go Stars FC. Oh, Mr. Mo, may your birthday. Oh, Mr. Mo. Oh, the noise. How can I hear? Oh, Madu Mike, the Mati.
Was he chairman? Was
William
Dako?
Kofodia.
Oh, you Pojoba.
Okay, come on. Okay, so happy birthday to Mami Go Stars. Women organizer at the Bibiani Go Stars FC. We for Kobe Obestresa our Kessben media and presidential correspondent at Kessben 92.9. Happy birthday to your bar Nyakopon Kahwati. Amanim Debe to Supanfagu Awaria so. Samson happy birthday to Ike Omega our Kessben media. Yay! Obadjuma pa. Ike baby obia ya church happy birthday na catch baby a party ni wo ene. And happy birthday to Vivian Yeboah. Yes, Vivian, the beautiful Vivian. Yay, Vivian Yakopon Kahwati. Omanyinu beye kru pass o kru so a nyame to super famu kru wawaria so na ma bibia enkoye fama. And a happy birthday to Angela Otenstro Angela Oten o Strong TV MCR. Away from Nanaya Biama or Royal TV and see we say amount. So happy birthday to Angela Oten, our Strong TV. Angela, baby will be a chacha para happy birthday to you, honorable. And a happy birthday to Emmanuel Techi Safo. Yay, what a swag. Emmanuel Techi Safo, happy birthday to you, my brother. Nyakopo manya kese, kopim so be kese pa. Umenyu be penyu pa me chira fama my Ghana no abusu nyina. Happy birthday to you and onya 10 years. And a happy birthday to Eric Sapon, away from Aguna. Eric Sapon, happy birthday to you. Oh, your public relations officer. Edema the big Sly Fofie. Yes, Sly Fofie. Yeah man. So Eric Sapon, catch your baby. party ni wo na yemra na yenso yembembe giani. So happy birthday to you baby obia no ye chacha mu na happy birthday to you. Okay, ora apia Sapa Richard ene kuche semni ni na edigu nkrata so de mame na me na Frimpong Ziega so me present edi emamu fifi di ho akon ya badane Addison muni na afe Amos Lai ene ye technical producer afe Vincent Juku ene be chinchin fidie no ma ye discourse no efi adane boati studio edi mamu Kofi kodo prako dankwa executive producer na eboye chido medam wase begin na Frimpong Ziega nyame adom ochina ye be sehia.
And it was a
Oni pada sani awon manwemu wo wiase ha asam to nyonko na to baby ankemfa ho menso metene baby anka me pema yeden nanso wadoma nkoma bo ade ebo nipa bata nipa ho obi ada na nyonko yesu ensu ane yirasio obi a woni duma odidi bo a oman wo